How to stop living paycheck to paycheck. In this video, I'm going to break down a step-by-step guide that my wife and I use to allow her to go from a minimum wage job living paycheck to paycheck and being in credit card debt to having her dream lifestyle, her dream business that produced many times more income than her 40 to 50 hour a week job. So how to stop living by paycheck to paycheck, step-by-step proven guide. This is Jake Ducey with JakeDucey.com. Make sure you hit the like button right over there and let's dive right into this video. Step number one, treat your job like an investor, even if you don't know what you want to do next. So when my wife finally had it up to here with her job that she was working at for a long time, she was working a minimum wage job or just slightly above that, and she was sick and tired of doing it. She felt like she was underpaid and she wanted to do something else. And her vision was she wanted to be an artist. But she had been too afraid for her whole adult life to ever try that. And she said, look, I can't do this anymore. And so I said, look, here's what we got to do. We need to treat your job like an investor. And what you need to start doing is keep working your full-time job. Unlike what most people say, quit it then, just quit the job. No, Ashley stayed at the full-time job and she started saving more money. And then she started spending any of her free time working on her first pieces of art that she was going to sell. She started spending all of her free time working on marketing, on networking, on getting her unique work, which was wood burning, out into the marketplace. So she was able to go through our vision was save up enough money working full-time at this job that you hate, that you're living paycheck to paycheck at, save up enough, pay off all the credit card debt, save up enough that you can have the confidence to go part-time. Still keep the job, but go part-time, but only go part-time when your side business, which was her art, was producing enough money that she could warrant doing that. And then eventually the long-term plan was to go make enough money at her art business to entirely quit, but taking it as a gradual process. So I say, treat your job like an investor. Comment that down below. What does that mean? Treat your job like an investor. Comment that down below. They say you forget like 90% of the stuff that you hear. So just let's make sure that we actually grasp all these things that we're talking about here. So please comment down below. Treat your job like an investor. And what I mean by that is people say all the time they don't want to do their job anymore. They don't want to be living paycheck to paycheck, quite simply. And so what happens is they don't have any money left over. And so what Ashley started doing was, instead of filling the void within herself with being incomplete with a job she didn't want to be at anymore, which is generally what happens, you feel incomplete, so you spend a bunch of money you don't need to spend and you stay in this cycle of living paycheck to paycheck because you're not that happy. So then every month you keep thinking, if I spend all the money that I have, somehow it'll make me a little bit happier. And that's how most people live their entire life, in this cycle like that. Whereas if you treat your job like an investor and you say, instead of complaining about this opportunity that I hate, I'm going to start to see this as an opportunity that's giving me the blessing to start to put money away. So she started treating her job like an investor instead of quitting right away, not having any money, then having all this pressure around her art. She was able to ease into it successfully. So treat your job like an investor and start increasing every week or every month the percentage of which you're saving. If you're currently saving 3% of your money, move it to 7 today. If you're currently saving 7 to 10, move it to 15 today. And keep moving it up till you get up towards 20, 25, 30%, and you can start to put a 6-month nest egg away. That's step number one. So step number two, after you are beginning to treat your job like an investor and you're starting to put away aggressive amounts of the percentile of your income, then the next step is, even if you don't know what it is you want to do yet and you just want to stop living paycheck to paycheck, you need to get up to about a 6-month supply of money at least. Once you get to that point, then you're no longer simply just treading water. You actually have some wiggle room. And from that wiggle room, if you want to stop living paycheck to paycheck, and you want to quit your job, or even if you don't want to quit your job, but you want to stop living to paycheck, there's a bunch of other videos that'll teach you how to stop doing lattes and all those things, and maybe you'll shave off a few dollars. Definitely worth considering. But if you want to speed up the process and make it work even better, what you need to do is increase your income. You have to raise your income ceiling. And what that's likely going to mean is you need an additional source of income. You need to pull out a piece of paper and write at the top of the paper multiple sources of income. So what we did with Ashley is we wrote out multiple sources of income. It was she selling she had all different sizes of wood burns. Some of them were prints that she didn't have to make by hand. And then once she built that up, and she built up, like, it's a really unique thing, this wood burning. So then she started teaching classes and tutorials that ended up being 30-40% of her income. And so we built multiple sources of income. What happens to most people is they get stuck on a paycheck to paycheck basis at a job that maybe they don't want to be at forever, but they're dependent upon it because they're looking at only one source of income. All the people that achieve financial freedom in a relatively short period of time and have a significant amount of wealth and financial independence, the vast majority of them have more than one source of income. So that doesn't mean you quit your existing source. It means you keep your existing source and you start to develop other sources of income. While you're treating your job like an investor to put more money away, you also have a little bit more confidence to start experimenting with other businesses or other avenues that can eventually rival your present income stream. And when that happens, then you could consider leaving, but you got to begin with multiple sources of income at the top of the paper, and maybe you write 15 of them and 10 of them suck, and one of them seems like a good enough idea to consider. That's where you begin. Now, we're going to move into rapid fire do's and don'ts to quit your job and stop living paycheck to paycheck. But before we get there, here's a quick summary. Instead of quitting your job immediately, start to treat it like an investor. Start to aggressively put away more money than you could possibly imagine. Guess what the worst thing that happens if you save more money than you're comfortable? You'll end up with the money in your bank account. So there's really no bad scenario that can actually come about from this. Furthermore, the next step, no matter what, if you want to quit your job or not, let's say you want to keep the job but you want to stop living paycheck to paycheck, what you're going to have to do is raise your income ceiling. There's only so many hours a day, so you're going to need multiple sources of income, preferably other sources that are not dependent off you directly trading your time for money. When you do that, you now have streams that are independent of one another. You have multiple sources of income. Most people think to stop living paycheck to paycheck, what they quite simply have to do is cut every single expense. While that's probably a good idea to cut a lot of your expenses in the short term, the end problem is actually not enough income. So treat your job like an investor, don't quit too early, and start to focus on one or two side hustles that can eventually create enough income that can warrant you going from full-time at your day job to part-time. That means you get more time to spend on your side hustle. Once that side hustle income ceiling continues to increase, then you can consider quitting your part-time job or keeping it because you enjoy it or you like the steady paycheck and the benefits it may provide, but you have the free time to continue expanding your income ceiling with your side business. So rapid fire do's, number one is do focus on honing a specific skill, craft, or idea. For instance, Ashley had the idea to do wood burning. So in the beginning, she had to keep her job, not quit it, and she had to start saving as much money as she could. She needed to start paying off all of her credit card debt, get herself in a positive position. Then she could start accumulating some of her savings and start putting herself in a positive nest egg position, all the while keeping her job and starting to work on her craft, getting really good at wood burning. So for you, it might be something totally different. It might be guitar, or you might have this unique business idea, or you might have an opportunity to help sales with your friend's business on the side. You might have just an opportunity to build a local house cleaning business, and in the long term, instead of you doing all the work, you can hire other people to actually perform the service, and you can move into a more leveraged income position. But what you're going to have to do to increase your income is have a craft, skill, or idea that you can start honing in on. Number 2, stop socializing as much. The reality is to stop living paycheck to paycheck and to start to make positive and significant progress to grow your income, to grow your net worth, and to grow your financial freedom, especially if you're in a paycheck to paycheck or even in debt position. It's going to take some time, it's going to take some energy, and it's going to take some work. And that means starting to say no to some things you really know you should say no to. So that means in your heart, when you get asked to do something or you feel obliged to do something, and you know in your heart you don't want to do it or it's not in your best interest and you need to stay home and study or work or spend your free time working, you can respectfully, very respectfully decline. Start saying no to some socializing and some other encounters that will allow you to put your number one priorities first. Last but not least, do set some clearly defined goals. Time-based goals, clearly defined. So comment down below, clearly defined time-based goals. Comment that down below. Clearly defined time-based goals. Please comment that down below to make sure you leave the video with this. Comment down below. Clearly defined time-based goals. That means you say, within 30 days, I will have this much amount of money saved. Within 60 days, I will have this. Within 6 months, I will have this much money generated monthly in my side business. It means you literally write on a piece of paper exactly how much you will be saving and earning with time frames that you can adhere to hold yourself accountable to. And now some final rapid fire don'ts. So number 1 is don't use credit cards while you're trying to get out of living paycheck to paycheck. People will say, well, use your credit card because it'll help your FICO score. That's the last thing you need to be worrying about. You need to be worrying about getting into a positive position financially. So just stop using them for the next 6 months. And by the way, it'll be a good motivation to start increasing your income. If you say, well, I don't have the money to buy the things I want, stop using your credit card. Second, stop doing your taxes on your own. Stop filling them out electronically with some computerized thing. Get a real accountant that can help you, because one of your number 1 expenses is going to be taxes. And if you focus on additional income, you're going to have a side business. And if you have a real professional, you might be able to lower your tax burden. Last but not least, consider making a social media post that says you're declaring you're going to stop living paycheck to paycheck and you're going to make significant progress in your life financially and start that dream business. Therefore, you will not be on social media until it begins to happen. If you're not making money from social media, please, so many people are spending 2-3 hours a day on social media without making money on it. If it doesn't have anything to do with your income, get off of it and get focused on your priorities. So thank you for watching this video. Please leave a comment down below the number 1 thing that you learned. It'll help this video in the YouTube algorithm. So please comment down below one thing that you learned. Make sure you hit the like button on the side to send this video into the YouTube universe, and consider subscribing.